And while I'm at it, I would like a pony. So in case anybody wants to get in line and buy me one.
Well, what you were pointing out is that, you don't even have to bother reading the newspapers or watching TV news on these days because the obligatory story. But there's always these obligatory stories.
Oh, sure.
You can, as a reporter, you can write them in your sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. What I thought was interesting this time around is there was a sizable protest at the
at Walmart.
At Walmart in Aspinwall. Yeah. And, in all of this coverage of, people, fighting each other tooth and nail for $200 off of a flat screen TV, you would have thought somebody could have gone out there and
the workers.
And there was no TV coverage. There was only the spottiest of print coverage.
Is that really? It's true.
So
I wasn't here,
too
but
bad.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, there was one guy from I forget which radio station, but that's about a photographer from the Post-Gazette snapped a picture of some, kind of pictures.
Somebody,
angry,
a deranged worker.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and protest coverage can be equally formulaic. You could probably write some of those in your sleep too, but at least
that's true.
But there are legitimate issues about where we choose to spend our money. When I was on here last week, we were talking about the story I did about school voucher support, and so much of the money for the school voucher campaign comes from the Walton family, who make their money from Walmart. So if you're a teacher out there, especially, first of all, why are you listening to the show at 10 a.m.? No, if you're a teacher out there, you may be at Walmart, so you spend less money, but the long-term consequence of that is you may end up with less money to spend because the institution you work for is being undermined from
is targeted. Yeah. Never mind the pun by Walmart.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Yep. This is going to be a slog today. I have a feeling.
Okay, Potter's not
feeling well.
Yeah. What? So this is some malady that your young son brought home from daycare or something.
I hope so. I kind of headachy and
that's what. Oh, jeez.
Plus, he's all screaming and yelling and stuff.
Okay, so Okay, well, there you go. Hey, man, there are consequences to that sexual intercourse.
God, if only there had been a major political party willing to tell me that a couple years ago. I feel so much heartache could have been avoided.
Well, this will help you.
Okay.
250 quotes to strengthen your mind.
All right, I'm ready.
This is from an agnostic in Wheaton. I don't know who that is.
Wheaton, Illinois?
I don't know. Pick a number of the 250. Go ahead. We'll just see.
7, because it's probably the first page.
Oh, no, you won't like this. That'll
4.
Well, why don't you get in?
83.
Hut! Wait.
Avogadro's number. Pi.
83.
Planck's constant.
Oh, I don't like it. You're picking bad
Well,
numbers.
Then you pick
All right,
number.
83.
What is this?
83
This is like
is rebuke with soft words and hard arguments.
Oh.
Come on.
Hard objects, more like.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you.
School.
Okay, number 1 is I think, therefore I am. That's the first one, okay?
Yeah.
Descartes.
Yes.
The second one is I am what I am, Popeye the Sailor Man.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Those are both good, but they essentially are the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pick a number.
All right. This is just like pick number 7. No, you're wrong.
How up to 250?
Why don't you just read one that you like?
I don't know. I haven't been through it.
Okay.
47.
What? Yep.
This is fun, huh? Hang on.
Jesus.
All right.
Hot page turning action here on the Lynn Cullen Show.
Oh, this isn't
from
bad.
Zig Ziglar. Oh, you know.
Zig Ziglar. If you treat your wife like a thoroughbred, you'll never end up with a nag. See, I know how to pick them.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, if there's ever a lull in the show, we can always pick a number.
Right,
See,
right.
That will be.
Is there another Zig Ziglar quote that's like, "What were my parents thinking?" Like, I always wondered about that guy's name. Like, was that his actual name?
Well,
was
what
that
was it the other day? When did I say this? Is I never understand people who name like Chris Christie. Were you here that day? Yeah, it's the same thing. Chris Christie, Zig Ziglar. What are we?
Yeah, and I remember growing up, WPTT Channel 22 used to have like these little, it had its own news operation. It was this total 70s cheesy thing. And every person who was on the air had that kind of name. So Eddie Edwards was the morning, anchor. And I'm sorry. Eddie Edwards was the guy who owned the station.
He did own the station.
But he also anchored.
He was on air.
He was on air too.
Well,
That's weird.
It was a little.
And then there was Evan Evans, who was the morning guy. And I just wondered whether, I always wondered that, like, did they hire, like with PXI, I used to wonder that all the time. Did they hire people for their names? Like there was Edie Tarbox way in the day who then went on to Fox
News,
another
one,
of course.
Sunny Abata.
Yeah, well,
she went to your high school.
Newland Archinall is, of course, one of the great names of all time.
That is the greatest name, and you don't even know the gender of that one, Newland Archinall.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met Newland, I happened to be working in the same building at the time doing my Cullen on cable show.
Yeah.
And she was just hired, and I wandered through the newsroom. Have you ever seen her?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Impressive, huh?
Yes.
What do you think? 6'2"?
Yeah, very tall. Yeah.
Jeez, I always thought, I was always the tallest woman in the room.
Right.
Because back in the day, it didn't take much.
Yeah.
I walked up. I never felt so small in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very pretty, too, I have to say.
Very pretty, wonderful woman.
Yeah, seemed nice. Yeah.
And what the hell happened? They let her go.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about her husband was about 7 inches shorter.
Good for him.
Good for her. See, you say good for her. I think
well, of course. Attaboy.
All right. Here's the best story that I came across. Did you see this? That the United States was actually considering...
Yeah, I love this story, yes.
I know, it's beyond belief. In 1957, there was a secret program that was being worked on, and it had, one of those secret program names, Project A119. And this program was to nuke the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind?
That'll show 'em. Yeah.
To scare the Soviets.
Yeah, that'll show them.
And this is after they'd put Sputnik up.
Right.
We are behind, so we thought, well, what we can do, we can scare the hell out of them because they'll look up at the sky and there'll be this mushroom cloud right up there where the moon used to be.
Right.
Can you imagine if...
Now, would it actually have blown up the moon?
How could it? No.
It couldn't have.
No, I think it would just have put a big dent in it.
And let's face it, the surface of the moon is pitted already. It's
so what difference does it make?
I mean, really, in a way, it's less stupid than open air testing of a hydrogen bomb like we did in the South Pacific. But yeah, no, first of all, I have to say this. That is the dumbest project name
Well,
ever.
What would you call it?
I don't know. Give it some Bond sound, like Moonraker or something. Actually makes sense even. Like it should be badass. It should sound badass.
Well, we do that now.
Yeah, we do. Right, exactly. Now it will be Operation Lunar Freedom.
Yeah, that's right. But what were they thinking? I mean, we need the moon. What were they thinking? The tides wouldn't come in and out. I mean, what? Like the moon is of no relevance to us, and they had scientists working on it. Yeah. A young Carl Sagan.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that part. Wow, that's
interesting. A young Carl Sagan. He was doing calculations for him.
Man.
And it said in another thing.
Take that hippie shit elsewhere, Sagan. Billions of...
It was believed that it would give us poor United States citizens who are worrying about why Johnny can't read a much-needed morale boost after the Russians who were going to kill us all dead.
That's
my childhood!
Doesn't that sum us up, though?
What?
We're getting, okay, we can't compete. The fear is we can't compete educationally, but when it comes to blowing shit up, nobody beats Uncle Sam.
Yeah. The documents of this project were kept secret for 45 years.
Probably because they would just make us look silly.
Well, of course, but somebody let them out. I wonder how this came out.
Project A119.
That's correct. No, 11. Is it 9? Yes. God. Yes. We've got a caller. Hello there.
Hi, I missed your moon thing, but I heard you guys talking about the Channel 11 names.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, yeah, you mentioned Edie Tarbox.
Yeah.
But you remember there was also a Dagny Holtgreen.
Yes. Yes.
Stacia Erdos.
Stacia Erdos is another great one. Yeah.
Oh
Katina Forte.
They've got a Tamika Artist is still there now, is she not?
Oh yes, she's a great one. Darius Chisholm is still there too.
Darius Chisholm,
another incredibly tall woman, by the way.
Yeah, she's very tall.
Very tall.
Oh my God! And so hot. You know what?
Yeah, she's
Lynn, you mentioned Newland Archinal. I met her once at the Home Depot in East Liberty.
Yeah.
I could not believe the camera did not do her justice. In person, she is just so beautiful.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
And what happened to her? They just axed her, and I think does she still live around here? But I don't know if she.
Well, last time I looked, she was. I believe they stayed in Squirrel Hill.
Yeah.
Right, because she's married to someone here. Well, she deserves to be on the air. My God, she was beautiful, and she was smart, too. I mean, she would read the news with, that she knew what she was talking about when she read it, you know?
Well, I would see her. She would cover stuff from time to time and always thought she did a really commendable job.
Reporter.
Some of those, sometimes TV people, a little light on the details, but she always knew what the game was. She knew the list.
Most of them always are, and that was I was so happy to, run into her and meet her, because I was always a fan of hers, especially when she would be, I don't know, she would be on sometimes at 4 or 5 in the morning when they would start this broadcast, but she would still be totally with it and able to realize, what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, that is your job. What do you mean? You think they'd pick an anchor who starts the early morning news
That would be awesome, actually.
Man.
Most of them don't know what's going on, though. She stuck out because she kind of...
That would be a great concept for early morning news, though. Somebody who's as screwed up as you are. I could see sort of a Paul Long type cranky.
Yeah.
Well, wait, isn't that why they got Charlie Rose to be on that morning show?
There you go. So they were thinking in the same way. You should be a consultant.
This could be a whole new second career for you, man.
I can't believe you remember all those names.
Yeah. Oh, Stacia Erdos is
Well, I used to keep track of them because I just could not believe how the other stations could they couldn't keep up. The other stations could never come up with these names. And every time I would see, and who's the one that still wears the hats that's on there too?
That wears the hats.
I don't know. One of the ones on Channel 11. I hardly ever watch the local news, but it's sometimes good for comedy. So.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Male or female who wears the hats?
It's a female, and she's always Amy Marcinkiewicz. She's always very concerned.
That's right.
No matter where she is, she's very concerned, and sometimes she wears these really great hats.
She's not only concerned.
I'm Amy Marcinkiewicz, and I'm so concerned.
But she's always got stories dog chews arm off of, it's always and here on this front porch is where it began. And then
I know.
And then you walk with her, she always says, and come in, right around the corner, if you'll follow me. Right. And she's all business.
Yeah.
She's very concerned, but she looks like a little bunny, though. So you're kind of concerned, and you want to cry with her, and oh my God, we're very concerned. Someone's mail was stolen today. Look at the hat I'm wearing.
She doesn't want you to look at her hat. She's not a fashion plate type.
She wants you to look at the hat.
Her hats are utilitarian. They are not fashionable.
They used to be. I noticed lately when I see her lately, she's not into the hats anymore. But this was she's been around for a while. She's been one of the longer lasting.
Yeah, she was here. I know she was here in the early or the late '90s at least, because I remember covering some stories that she was at. And
yeah, she's a stalwart. That's why they stick her out in wherever Fayette County, wherever the hell she is.
Well, her hat days are over, I admit. But if you remember back in the '90s, she was she had a different hat every night, and she was.
Thanks.
And it wasn't utilitarian. It was a real okay, I bought this hat somewhere in Shadyside.
Well,
thanks for the call,
Michael. I wish everybody watched the news as assiduously as you did.
No, see, I never do, but I just would watch it for those things and notice it.
Thanks for the call, man.
Great to hear from you. Bye. Oh, he's so funny.
It is. I feel like a steakhead for talking about Newland Archinal and how attractive she was, but he's dead right. She was
A knockout.
She was a knockout in person. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, some people, like me, for example, I look better on the camera than I do in real life.
Like me, I cannot tell you how many times people have said to me when they, Lynn Cullen, why, you're much better looking in person. And then I think, what do you say to that? Like, I guess they mean it as a compliment, so you're supposed to say thank you. Yeah. But the under like,
man, are you a mess?
Man, do you look like hell on television? Right. And it's like this shock.
Right.
Some of us, I think, just don't photograph as well as others.
Whereas your viewers should know, I'm actually not this pretty in real life. Thank you. I feel better.
Okay. Oh, so do you love this? I love this when this happens. So you see the latest Onion thing that got picked up.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know. The People's Daily, is that what it's called? The Workers'
I think they're all called the People's Daily in China.
All right, People's Daily, the big newspaper in China, picked up an Onion article, not realizing it was sarcastic.
It'd be very hard for that to translate, I imagine.
Well, here's what they printed. Absolutely. The Onion article was that Kim Jong-un, that's the new guy on top of North Korea, they decided was the sexiest man in the world. And so the People's Daily in Beijing, under a headline, what is their headline? Their headline was North Korea's top leader named Onion sexiest man alive. And they accompanied the Onion article with 55, count 'em, photos of the gorgeous Mr. Un. Some on horseback, some standing atop the body of corpses of slave laborers. Here's what they printed. With his devastatingly handsome round face, his boyish charm, and his strong, sturdy frame, this Pyongyang-bred heartthrob is every woman's dream come true. Blessed with an air of power that masks an unmistakable cute, cuddly side, Kim made this newspaper's editorial board swoon with his impeccable fashion sense, chic, short hairstyle, and, of course, that famous smile.
I will say, he does look kind of cuddly.
Well, of course he looks cuddly because he's a pudgy guy. And it was just a few months ago that Iran, their news agency, which is interestingly called Farce, F-A-R-S, yes, Farce, they reprinted, thinking it was real, an Onion article about a supposed survey that showed that most rural white American voters would rather have voted for Mahmoud Ahmadinejad than Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Which may in fact be true.
Yeah. Maybe they know these things are jokes and they just didn't care.
No, I don't think so.
Well, why not? What do you care? I mean, what do you care if you're that? If you're the state media apparatus of whether they mean it? Yeah, there you go. E.D. Tarbox eventually became E.D. Hill.
E.D. Tarbox, yes, made the big time.
Yeah.
And became E.D. Hill on Fox. I think she's still there.
I don't know.
Oh, no, maybe she's not.
No,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but she's somewhere. And didn't she marry? Wait a minute. Isn't she the one who married like the son of the one of the richest Americans in the world, the guy Simon.
He must have been Iranian too. With a last name like that.
I want to say his last name was like W-E-I-L.
Oh.
Sanford
Weill. Oh, the financial guy.
Really? I think she married into that family.
I don't know that she is on Fox anymore. My guess would be that Fox News is just no place for an attractive blonde.
They literally will not. Okay, here's from Chris Newland Archinall left on her own.
Oh, really?
Along with Bob Bruce. She went with him to work in some financial
firm locally. Well, there you go.
Gee, I was just talking yesterday about the anchor team in Maine that quit on the air. Did you see it?
No, I did not. What did they do?
You'd be impressed by these two.
Or were they just like...
No.
I want you to go to your window and shout, I'm Madison. Was it that kind of thing?
No, but they didn't do it that way. They did it. They just said, because management didn't know they were going to. But they said...
That's so awesome. Were they holding hands at the time? Like,
no, but they hugged afterwards.
Oh.
They said, and we want to, good night, but we want to say this is our last opportunity to say good night to you. And they just sort of said, there's things here that we just really don't want to talk about, go into, but it's time for us to leave, and blah, blah. And it turned out that the reasons is that the station manager was butting into the news operation all the time, and it was a little station, so one of the anchors was the news director as well. Said just can't take it anymore. And so it was like journalistic integrity trumped their jobs.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, don't you think?
Thank God I never have to do that.
Newlyn Archinall sounds like the name of a homophobic Anglican bishop.
No, she's a wonderful bird.
Yeah, but she's not. It might sound, but you understand what he's saying.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. How about, this is from Tom Sokolowski, how about some comments about Rick Santorum's comments? Oh, God, it's unbelievable. In opposition to the UN's proposal calling for an international acceptance of the United States Americans with Disability Act. Do you know about this?
I don't. Why would
this is beyond belief. Okay.
Well, are we...
Rick Santorum yesterday came out.
Yeah. Pause. Let's just go to commercial now. Yeah, that would be so awesome.
Rick Santorum came out and had a big press conference.
Oh, boy.
He trotted out his disabled daughter, Bella, for this occasion. Yeah. She was Exhibit A. The poor thing, in her mother's arms, and her mother, Bella cannot stay still, and her mother's like this. And Rick is darkly saying that the United States should not become a signatory to this United Nations proposal, which essentially does take our Americans with Disabilities Act and say that that's what the United Nations wants all its...
Why on earth would he be against that?
Because it's a slippery slope. And if we agree to anything the United Nations has to do, the next thing you know... I'm not kidding. That's it.
That's interesting. So if the United Nations promulgated a regulation that said abortion was an evil that should be universally cast out from all civilized nations, would he be against it for the same reasons? Because he didn't think that the United Nations should have...
Well, I would think he would have a dark night of the soul over that one, but...
Good God!
So Tom,
really? So that's what it...
No, as what Tom said, he showed up and he says, as only Tom would say it, he made his remarks while he dangled his disabled daughter. Reminded me of Michael Jackson dangling his child blanket out of a hotel window. Yeah, it was
so the
pretty
slippery
disgusting.
Slope is a handicapped access ramp. That's what we're saying. Like that.
Well, I guess that would be absolutely sort of right.
Once we countenance,
you'd have to get
reserved parking spaces.
You'd have to get
all of our cherished freedoms.
Rick to explain it. Okay, Zig Ziglar's full name was Hillary Hinton Ziglar.
Yeah,
and so he was called Zig.
Yeah, I might have gone with Zig too. Yeah. He was wasn't he? He was like no. I think he was like one of those kind of like self-help, be a Dale Carnegie guys. I think.
And he said that about treat your wife like a thoroughbred.
It was a different era. Back in those days, you could refer to your spouse as livestock and nobody cared. A few decades before that, you could refer to your livestock as your spouse and it would be fine. So
give me a number.
Progressed. I thought we were going fine. 15.
What is your thing with numbers up at the top?
I just don't want you to... I don't want to have to listen to you flip pages for 15 minutes.
This is by some Greek.
Yeah, some Greek guy. Yeah,
Greek guy we never heard of. The people have a right to the truth, as they have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happipiness. Come on.
If you're into that sort of thing.
No, so you mean Jefferson ripped off this guy?
In fact, it turns out that the whole democracy concept was a bit of a retread.
Well, yeah, but you mean somebody actually had said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness before that triad?
I mean,
I never saw that.
You downloaded this from the internet, so it must be true. I mean...
Oh, I like this.
When I have a headache, I get really sarcastic. I apologize.
That's okay. I love this Italian proverb.
Oh, good.
Once the game is over, the king and the pawn go back into the same box. Isn't that good?
Yes.
That's good. And on that, we'll take a break.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
36 countries, 150 artisan groups, a world of handmade treasures, and one place to discover them all. 10,000 villages, home decor, jewelry, gifts, all one of a kind, fashioned one at a time. At 10,000 villages, each item tells a story.
When somebody else takes that beautiful item, I want to carry that beauty to them.
They're gifts that give twice, because 10,000 Villages is a fair trade retailer, providing sustainable income to artisans in developing countries.
Fair trade has been the possibility to have what we have now.
Enriching their lives while bringing exotic elegance into yours. Surprise your senses. Express your style. Experience the new. Step into 10,000 Villages.
I feel very beautiful making these products, and I want all our customers to feel beautiful wearing them.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay, we looked up the piece on Santorum for Chris. And you see his declaration here. This is a direct assault on us. This UN treaty which forbids discrimination against people with AIDS or who are blind or who use wheelchairs. A direct assault. Okay.
Wow.
And he acknowledged that it looks bad to be saying what he was. But he has the courage to stand up on an issue that doesn't look to be particularly popular. Oh, my God.
Huh.
So, okay, what he's opposed to is a treaty that essentially directs the other nations to update their laws so they more closely match the Americans with Disabilities Act.
This is...
and
this is us dictating to the world. If it's anything, it's not the world dictating to us.
Well, but they say their concerns come from the dark world of UN conspiracy theories. They argue that the treaty, like almost anything that the UN does, undermines American sovereignty.
Oh, man.
Which, of course, is not true, but then, So
I was slightly concerned in the days after the election that the Republican Party might actually decide to pursue the path of sanity.
It's not happening.
I guess it seems a little less...
You see a few of them attempting it.
Yeah.
Edie Hill is now on CNN.
There you go.
Thank you, Chuck.
Oh, she was the terrorist fist bump person, as Chuck reminds us here. Remember, she was the one who said...
Her contract was not renewed at Fox, and it was theorized because she accused Barack and Michelle Obama of doing a terrorist fist bump during the first campaign.
Yeah. Well, it was the problem that the criticism was too tepid? Is that... Really? Because, I mean, really... If you're going to fire everybody on Fox who's made some outrageous accusation against the president, I don't know who's going to be left.
Morning news reporters. Boy, you guys see
people love this.
They love these stupid articles. They love stupid.
Oh, look at that! What is this? Lynn and friend. That's it. Friend.
He's my friend.
That's right, Russ.
That's Chris Potter,
yeah,
editor, Pittsburgh City Paper. Because you are talking about news-related things, why do morning TV news reporters, especially on KDK, have to report their stories outside in lousy weather when the stories have nothing to do with being outside, and the weather people do their reports from inside?
That's an interesting question. Why do yes? Every other story that they do You're right. You're always, even if it's like they're standing out in their parking lot and they're like in the city somewhere over my right shoulder.
Well, usually if they're outside, there's supposedly in front of a building in which something happened or is going to happen, or I'm sure the consultants would tell you that it subliminally makes you think that these reporters are intrepid. They are out there. They are yeah. Even if they're just in the parking lot of they go out just to do it and position themselves in front of a tree or something so that you can't quite tell they're in the parking lot. Right. That's the kind of thing.
Whereas obviously the weather people have to be inside because then they have that green screen with all the weather radar stuff. But that actually just raises the question of why don't they just put the cityscape on the green screen and keep everybody nice and warm? I always used to wonder that with D. Thompson.
Poor D.
The guy who was it just seems like he was permanently on patrol at the I-279, and there'd be trucks sluicing up, he
had to cover the periphery, and he had to do it as early as, he must have gotten up at 2. He worked.
Joellen writes,
I'm having Ryan Santorum 2016 bumper stickers printed. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that Santorum is looking at it. I mean, he was busy.
He's running already.
Yeah.
You can see it.
He was busy in Iowa trying to oust one of the judges, one of the state Supreme Court justices in Iowa that ruled in favor of gay marriage rights. So, no question, he'll be back.
Okay.
Jesus.
I want to apologize to the audience. I'm going to ask Potter's reaction to a story that is, in fact, I think somewhat serious.
Okay.
And political.
I'm ready.
This was in the New York Times and written by the great Nate Silver.
Okay. Yep.
This is the statistician.
Math. Yep.
He says Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
He's been looking. Do you know about this? He's looking at the numbers. And he says he thinks Pennsylvania could be the Ohio of 2016, essentially. That he sees our state starting to be a state that could be up for picking for the Republicans. And he says this, it has been a close but not quite state for Republicans for years. They can always easily find 48% of the vote here in a national election, but they can't seem to find that other 2. And he says, but the reason he thinks that Pennsylvania is going to be in play is in the lingo of his profession. We in Pennsylvania are not as elastic voters as others, which is to say we're ossified, set in our ways, and there are fewer people who aren't just immediately know who they're voting for. But he says Pennsylvania could become more important, and so it is a state that Republicans will want to concentrate on from the earliest stages of their campaign.
Oh, no.
God help us. I mean, it's just a warning. And on your Christmas list, you might want to get noise-canceling headphones. Their nominee, and if this is coming from Nate Silver, who they disparage, they might pay attention to him now. Yeah. He's telling them that the Republican nominee in 2016 will need to build a robust turnout operation in Pennsylvania, since the strategic imperative in these inelastic states is to get your voters out. Right. Since you're not going to be persuading anybody because everybody already knows where they're voting. So in a close national race, Republicans will need to identify and turn out an additional, this is all 200,000 voters in Pennsylvania, and they could take our state. Mm. He says it won't be easy, but Pennsylvania has been getting closer to the tipping point, and it does represent a plausible path forward for Republicans. You remember I told you this, okay? And it's all the more reason why the Democrats in this inelastic state must ramp it up. Ramp it up.
I agree with that, although it's a somewhat surprising analysis to me still.
Why? Look it our congressional delegation.
But you can't look at the congressional delegation. We're talking statewide races here, right?
Fine. Okay.
So where you've seen the growth, and the dynamic in the past few election cycles has been Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's always been Democrat, but it's the surrounding suburbs there, which formerly, when there was such a thing as a moderate wing of the Republican Party, would go to the Republicans consistently. Right. And what you've been seeing in these past election cycles is that is just less and less happening, and that's really the part of the state that's actually growing.
Yeah.
So whereas a lot of the out here, it definitely feels like the opposite trend happening out here. But then this is the part of the state where population is stagnant, if not declining, in some of the outlying areas, and a lot of those people are old. So I would never minimize the need to take these guys seriously, because we talk about it almost every week we're on here. But I was still surprised by that analysis.
Okay, Kristen says, while we're on the poor reporter, she says, how about poor Ralph Iannotti?
Yes. Yeah.
He's always made to broadcast outside off the side of the parkway during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Poor guy once almost got run over by a snowplow. The thing I love about Ralph Iannotti, he went bald.
Hell yeah, he did. And I was about to say, that's what makes it so unjust. I speep from experience. You lose a lot of radiational heat out of the top of your head.
May I refer you to Amy Marcinkiewicz?
Yeah, but she's not bald.
Tamika Artis. Well, you put a hat on. It keeps your body heat in. Give me a number.
23.
Will you dig into some? Oh,
no,
I know. Okay. All right. Thomas Huxley. Try to learn something about everything and everything about something.
Yes.
So profound. Be an expert on one thing or be really knowledgeable on one thing.
Oh, I thought he was suggesting do both of those things.
No. Try to learn something about everything. So be able to be conversant.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like something you would tell a talk show host.
Be a mile broad and an inch deep.
Yeah, that's it.
I think they do tell talk shows that.
Okay. I bet there's some really good things in here.
Yeah.
It's just a matter. Jess, give me a number.
148.
Oh, there you go. Nobody likes a suck up, Jess.
Yes, they do. Winston Churchill.
Oh, here we go.
Courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend.
Now, where's my drink?
Listen. He had a chauffeur, so he wasn't driving drunk. He was simply saving the world drunk.
Yes.
And he did a damn fine job of it.
Yep.
And let's take our second break. We'll be right back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Winter has arrived and it's cold outside, so get to Little's for all your UGG needs. Little's has Uggs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. And don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. All available at Little's Shoes. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Who needs Black Friday? Go to BurghBargains.com for great deals every day from the top restaurants, museums, and shows in the Burgh. This week, only 60% off gift certificates to Misaki. BurghBargains.com, Pittsburgh's exclusive e-commerce mall. BurghBargains.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Here's a great one from my heartthrob, Ben Franklin. If a man empties his purse into his head, no man can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Why are you... Well, isn't that good?
I've noticed that knowledge is at something of a discount lately. I was watching this has been bothering me since last night, so give me the 15 seconds to just...
Go ahead.
So sometimes we watch the evening news at my house, and they had the CBS News, and there was this report that they kept, they do the little teaser, and later later in our broadcast, a new concerning finding about global climate change, right? So they did. So I was like, okay, so I was like, okay, let's see let's see what's going on. So I sit through all the stuff about all the commercials directed at old people and stuff like that. And they get to it, and what it is, and it's no surprise, this has been foretold, as so much of the climate change phenomena has been. It was foretold years ago by scientists, which is that as the ice shrinks in at the poles, and as the permafrost melts, more of the underlying soil and stuff like that is more of the underlying carbon dioxide and methane is being released into the atmosphere. So it is the quintessential feedback loop, right? Here you have a thing that will exacerbate climate change, proves yet again another key part of what scientists have been saying for years. Right. They give this less than 10 seconds. And then he goes on to a story about a World War II fighter found off the coast of Florida, and that gets a half minute. And it just, like, my brain nearly, like, this is why it's just these little drips and drops. So you kind of get used to it. You know, you kind of, oh, geez, yeah, it looks like that global climate change is real. But hey, what are you going to do? It was only 10 seconds on the news. And at some point, we're all sitting around in Bermuda shorts on Christmas Day, and we're wondering how we got here. Like, it blows my mind. It's the first story they did was this Benghazi nonsense.
Wait. What is the job of that half-hour show? That job of that half-hour show is to attract and hold all those old geezers who still listen to it. Okay? And what do they care? They'll be dead by the time they're in Bermuda shorts on the,
they're wearing Bermuda shorts now because they're all in Florida. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which newscast you watch.
I know.
The network news has become softer than even local news. I cannot believe how soft it is. I cannot believe it's like one step away from watching entertainment news or something. It's celebrities, it's soft features. They intersperse a few little thingamajiggies in there like, hey, get us just in. The world's ending. And now, back to the largest peanut butter and jelly sandwich made by. This is what they're doing, and what I don't understand. Speaking of anchors quitting, I don't understand why you don't see more where people just say like Brian Williams should just throw his papers down and
he's
say,
got all the money he needs.
I'm out of here.
He's got all the money he needs.
We can't do this anymore. Yeah. Just can't.
Yeah, he seems like a smart guy.
He's smart.
He's got the money.
Smart.
He doesn't need
and
anything.
He's making, he's pissed off. He's, thinking, I can't believe this. But, he won't walk away. I would have a great deal of respect for him or any of them who did. And that is why we now quote Aristotle. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors.
It consists in not choking in your microphone in front of an audience of thousands of people.
Oh, I've done worse. I don't care. I'm beyond shame. No. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in deserving them.
So true.
And then Mark Twain said something about physical courage. That's no big deal. You see it quite often. What you rarely see is moral courage, right?
Yes. Conversely, wasn't it Kafka who said, it's day-to-day living that gets a person down. Any idiot can manage a catastrophe? I've always thought that was an interesting...
Did he?
Might have not have been Kafka. Somebody like that. Somebody dark, though.
Say it again.
Any idiot can manage a catastrophe. It's day-to-day life that gets a person down.
Well, I think that's sort of true.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, and they even say, in terms of like the stresses that cumulatively create heart disease and kill you dead are the little day-to-day things. And your body and with a huge crisis, you sort of marshal all your resources and focus and deal with it. Yeah. That's true. Yes, it's life itself that kills you.
Life is the disease.
Yes, it is.
Raymond writes in.
Lynn, I would think this crazy stance of Santorum's is more about U.S. businesses resisting any agreement But they already are under it because of the AD. Okay, that would raise the standards in countries where they have outsourced their labor.
Ah, well.
Or that might require these corporations to not do business with countries that don't shape up. The whole point is that we require decent, compassionate, humane treatment of workers and citizens. If we did, is that what he's saying? What?
No, as we did require that
the corporate avoid these costs by outsourcing, by running to countries where it's acceptable to cast aside the handicap and treat those who can work like livestock.
Yeah.
Like in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I'm sure they trotted Ricky out in front of them thinking his plastic face is more appealing than their horns and pointed tails.
Not sure I'd agree with
that. Whoa, Ray.
I guess I'm just surprised I'm a little surprised at Rick Santorum, because here's a guy who in a variety of contexts has talked about the need to treat disabled people with respect, and we demean them, especially with respect to abortion, because his big thing is like, oh, people will go and find out that their kid has Down syndrome and then they'll abort it or whatever after they get a bad amniocentesis,
right.
And we should honor all, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Well, do you mean it or do you not mean it? I guess it's just the same old Republican thing. I guess it's just the same old Republican thing, which is you care about them when they're in the womb, and then when they're out of it, they're on their own.
We care about them from conception to birth.
And after that,
you're on your own.
Yep. An Irish adage. Hey,
you, Jess, don't you speak Irish? Gaelic?
But you're not going to be able to read it in a way that's
Can you read this?
But it's written right in it.
He's Minika Gib. Well, she can do the real one. She doesn't have to do his Minika Gib. Read that.
Here, read it so people can hear your beautiful Gaelic pronunciation.
Oh, no. You can do it. Come on, do it.
This is live airtime.
Hey, come on, do it.
Oh. Come here.
Oh, look, she's turning red. Go away, then.
Anyway, it's an old Irish Gaelic saying,
and
which
it means an open mouth, which is what you had. An open mouth often catches a closed fist.
Yes.
I thought it was a fly.
I think I like this one better.
You do?
It's a little more Irish.
But Jess, don't you speak Gaelic?
Yeah.
Well, could you pronounce that? What's your problem?
Well, the thing is...
Jeez, well, at least your color's gone back to norm. The H?
The H is a grammatical operation and not a letter. And I can't... The second H, if you will, I'd be able to do that, but the GH is sometimes pronounced differently, so I'd have to...
Like it is embarrassing, like a... Is that what it is?
No, but it's...
Oh, it is. It's like the.
So you were afraid.
It's like the Hebrew of not appearing.
You don't mess it up.
Like anyone in the audience will know.
Well, you probably have listeners in the Emerald Isle. I would.
Okay. Is Minika. Was that close?
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Come on. Give it a shot.
Come on, go ahead.
I don't know.
Here.
It's Isminic. That's
Isminic. Yeah. Do it.
Gavon Beal, probably.
Oh, go away.
Okay.
Il Gabon Beal. I could have done Gabe.
Jeez.
That's a weird language.
I think Jess is just plain shy. That's what it comes down to.
I don't think of her as shy. Sometimes. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, you're on tomorrow. Aren't you on tomorrow? Oh, he might not be.
Oh, dear. So he's getting his licks in now.
Yeah. Tom wants us to comment on these two topics. One, the pending... Why are you so serious? Why is he so serious when we're having fun? The pending approval by the Ugandan parliament of a law which would impose the death penalty for all gay people and people with AIDS. Further, this law, if enacted, could find the adoption of similar laws in other African nations. Okay.
Rick Santorum is against that only if it's passed by the United Nations. Otherwise, he respects the rights of...
I've been watching this...
it's been going on for years.
Death to Gays Ugandan thing, which, by the way, has been funded in large part
by the Christian right in America.
By the Christian right in America. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they can't kill them all here, they'll kill them over, and at least we'll get rid of the Ugandan gays.
Yeah.
Beyond belief. I mean, I think international pressure has made these Ugandans back off a few times before, but it's beyond belief. Can you imagine being gay in that country?
Yeah, ironically, there are probably Ugandans who are for this who are saying, oh, we don't need to listen to international pressure. We're not going to let the international community set the rules for us, right? They're the Tea Partiers of Uganda, probably,
right.
I assume.
Rick Santorum would be able to understand that. The other story is in yesterday's Post-Gazette about the rancid academic debate over Thomas Jefferson's practice of slavery. I did not read it, and I don't know what the debate
talk
is.
About it next week.
What?
Maybe you can talk about it when he's on the air.
Well, what's his name? John Meacham has some book coming out, a hagiography probably about Jefferson. And, you know, Jefferson's a pretty complicated character, to say the least. To say the least. So I don't know what the debate will continue for all time. God, you guys are busy today. We can't get a show in here because you keep wanting to be part of it. Chris writes, I find it interesting with Brian Williams that he pops up as a cameo in shows like 30 Rock and Saturday Night Live.
Where he's very funny.
Very funny. He's very good. Could you have ever seen Edward R. Murrow showing up in a sitcom? Although I guess Walter Cronkite did do an episode of Mary Tyler Moore way back when. I agree with you on the news anchors at the big three networks. Also, a side note with the local anchors, I used to love when Doug would always make fun of the anchors' names and looks. He was spot on with his critique. Right. Yeah, Edward R. Murrow, yes, would not have. But in fact, look at our presidents now. I mean...
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know, we live in a totally... The number one industry of this country is entertainment. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
It's the only way we take in anything. So even listening to a program like this, in which you might say,
where we try as hard as we can not to be entertaining.
I listen to Lynn Cullen, and I find out all kinds of wonderful, interesting things about the news. No, this format is basically an entertainment, as is the news now. It didn't used to be. It's true. It didn't used to be, but now it has to be, because networks simply won't put a show on that is not designed to hold you through entertainment, whether that's drama, comedy. News, of course, ramps up, fear and looks for narratives and stories. Whether or not these are important for us to know has absolutely no standing anymore.
Right.
And it's, so this is just the way it is.
The exception to that being Fox News, perhaps, where although everything is not true, I mean, they're pretty sincere about it, right? I mean, they sincerely believe in the mission that they have, I think, which is always one of the differences between that side and everybody else's.
So they're a little different in that they really are a propaganda organ.
Yeah.
But they figured out how to be entertaining.
Yes, right.
No, and I think
they feed their rivals to the lions.
No, but I think also others have borrowed from them, even the networks. Has to do with how their on-air personalities interact, the whole thing.
Well, speaking of courage on the air, the Tom Ricks appearance on Fox, did you hear about that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Now, where he just flat out told him...
Well, he just said he was asked about why Republicans were going softer on Benghazi, and basically what he said is because the whole issue is a big...
Bunch of crap
it's just ginned up by you, acting as an arm for the Republican Party during the election.
That's right.
He got challenged on it once, and then they dropped him in less than, I think, a minute. He's on that. I mean, it's amazing. Even faster than the guy who pretended to be a young person who was going to vote for. Did you hear about this, where the guy basically punked the Fox and Friends morning show?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh.
Powerball is up to $500 million, says Ansel. If I win, I'm buying Pittsburgh City paper.
I shouldn't tell tales out of school, but I got a feeling you could buy us for less than $500 million.
Well, I don't think he was going to spend the whole amount.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that comes out in taxes, of course.
All right.
You want to talk about anything else? You know, we had this big thing yesterday on the local political scene, which is all of a sudden we have
what do you mean?
Local municipal races happening and stuff like that. Okay, all right, that's fine. I can't remember. Do you live in Peduto's district, or are you in Burgess's district? Because you're right in that area that's on the border there.
I know between like high property values and low property values.
Right. That's where you'll find Lynn Cullen.
I think I just make it into the high property value line. I believe.
So that's your district then, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so his chief of staff is running.
Dan Gilman.
Because he's not running. He's going to run for mayor.
He's running for mayor. That's
Peduto's running for mayor, and his chief of staff is running for the job. I'm sure. I wish them both luck.
Gene Clark is also running for that race. So that'll be.
Gene is running in my district?
Gene is running for District 8.
Oh,
As is Sam Hens-Greco, who you may know.
Hens-Greco?
Yeah.
That's a judge, right?
It's his wife is the judge. Yes.
Yeah.
He's the chair of the 14th Ward, been around a long time, a good guy too. District 8 gets all the luck, man.
Well,
they got good people.
There are a lot of very active, good people, but it makes it hard to...
Some of you folks should move to other communities.
That's right. Spread out a little bit. We took all our breaks, right?
We did. We're done. In fact, we've got a minute and 20 seconds.
Oh, geez. Well, I don't know if I want to get into that with you. I don't know if I... Did you see this disgusting thing?
I'm not sure I did.
This guy, it's another one of those...
It just looks like a newspaper clipping from here.
It's another one of those, two teenagers are dead because Minnesota is another state that passed one of these laws that if you feel threatened, you can kill.
Wait, I thought they actually broke into his home, though.
Yes, they did, but listen, it's still... The prosecutors are going after this guy. Yes, they were in his house, and it still doesn't meet the... You didn't hear?
Really? All I saw was I read it on the bus.
Listen to this. He's down in his basement. This guy, he hears somebody breaking in. He listens to them walking around upstairs.
Right.
He's locked and loaded. He's in a chair.
He's probably in his basement cleaning his guns.
Yeah, right. He's in a chair and he's just waiting. And sure enough, here comes some feet down. Before he even saw the head, person falls down the stairs. I think this is the guy, 17 years old. He ain't dead. He walks over to him and points the gun right at his head and blows him away. Then he sits back down and waits because he hears other steps. Comes the second set of steps. It's an 18-year-old girl. She falls down. He says she laughed. I'm sure she laughed.
Yeah, I'm sure she laughed.
And he said... Where did he say he didn't take kind... Oh. If you're trying... This is a quote to the cops. If you're trying to shoot somebody and they laugh at you, you go again.
Jesus Christ.
So with this 18-year-old girl gasping for air, he fired a shot under her chin, quote, him again, up into the cranium. And he said it was a good, clean finishing shot. That's it. So he is now he is in jail on 2 counts of second-degree murder. $2 million bond. His attorney says, you have a right to defend your home. This is insane. But you see what these laws make? I mean, I'm not...
I got a feeling that guy might have done it anyway, with or without a law, right?
Well, no, he's a very there's a very complicated person because he then let these 2 young people's bloodied bodies stay in his basement because it was Thanksgiving Day. And he didn't want to call the police and interrupt their holiday.
Man, see?
He called the next day.
There we go. That's chipper. Thanks for ending the show on that note, Lynn. I'm glad we made time for that.
You didn't like that? Did that bring you down?
It did a little, yeah.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
But that's one of those, what do they call them? Castle, no, what?
It is the castle doctrine, yeah, is the idea that.
But how many innocent, not even innocent, I mean, these guys weren't innocent, they've broken into his house. But what they had done was not a capital offense, nor was this guy's life in danger.
Yeah, right. And it sounds like his own description of events is that he shot them a second time, essentially in cold blood.
He did both of them more than once.
Yeah.
He just flat out killed them and then shot him and shot him and shot him. They were no threat to him at all. Unbelievable. Yeah, but this is America, and your home is your castle. And all those guns you have in the basement, well, they're intended to protect your
You'd be doing that in a Minnesota accent. I mean,
oh, yeah. And so they broke into his house, and what do you expect the guy to do?
There you go.
Huh? And he was merciful because he said he just stuck that gun right under the chin there, and, well, that takes care of you in just a minute. That young girl suffered very little.
Have a good day, folks.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Excuse me. It was maybe bad timing and whatever, and I can't help it. And thank you very much, Chris Potter, and pick up his paper.
Thank you.
It's all over the place. And Tom Sokolowski is coming in tomorrow.
Is he? Okay, good.
Then you could email all the time during Tom's show.
Just little things I think about. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay?
That's what
I
I'll
think
do.
you should. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.